There is unlimited liberty in the extent that someone can take a picture and say that things are bad.
False narratives, also known as misinformation or disinformation, refer to false or misleading information that is presented as factual. This can have significant impacts on individuals, communities, and societies as a whole. This can influence people's decisions and behaviors, leading to negative consequences. When it comes to marginalized groups like women, children, and persons with disabilities, the impact is even more severe as they face stigma and discrimination. We bring you a heart-wrenching story of Barbara Najuma, a resident of Mityana district, who shares her experience of how certain narratives impacted her health at a tender age.
I was born like any other normal child. I went to school, but then in my primary seven, that is when I started feeling pain.
Although Barbara was born with sickle cell disease, she was living a normal life as a child until she began realizing the effects of the disease in her primary seven.
And as I was growing up, I was born with an anemia, a disease called sickle cell.
However, Barbara states that the disease was surrounded by a lot of myths.
We had a lot of myths about the disease, and they didn't know what really they had, that we were not going to grow up, we couldn't reach a certain age. Maybe if someone reaches 15, that is a miracle. If it is 18, then you wait for your death.
She says the most disappointing moment was when she fell ill during her O-level and the public judged her, saying she had aborted.
And I couldn't continue with my education. I stopped there. I was put on traction, and then I was bedridden for a year. But then when I came back, the narratives I found in the village were like I had done an abortion. That is why I started using crutches. So it broke my heart.
This hit her hard, and she envisioned going further studies to help those who would have gone through the same situation.
I decided to study social work so that I could help others. So I did my bachelor's in social work and social administration, and I decided before even that to work with the community and especially people with disabilities.
She also wanted to educate the public on what sickle cell disease is, as people perceive it wrongly.
Talked to the ministry and worked with different people to see that we open up a clinic so that people can really understand what sickle cell is. There's been a lot of myth, people thinking that we cannot do anything, we cannot grow, we cannot live by ourselves, we cannot get married, we cannot have children, and also that has affected us since childhood.
What made her regain her strength was her family and God, as she forgave whoever talked ill about her illness.
If you don't forgive, you will never move on in life. I forgave them because I know they are innocent, they were misinformed.
Narratives can be harmful, but what about the source of information where most of the narratives come from? For example, the media. Waswayona from the Concerted Efforts for Rights Uganda, CERU, and also the chairperson of the National Council for Persons with Disabilities, says journalism has been at the forefront of impacting the community and changing narratives.
This is through the stories they have run, through the call for action from government and non-government players.
However, he also cites out some misleading content coming from journalists themselves.
However, other journalists have not been vulnerable persons sensitive in their reporting. I'll just give an example. There's a time when a person with hearing impairment wedded, and one of the story ran in Uganda, ekyalo kiwumye kigala awasizza. Now that in a way is derogatory. It demeans the couple.
The kind of information, the kind of language used is derogatory and harmful, as he explains.
And also, some journalists have gone ahead to use derogatory languages in their writings. Now, the intention is good to create change within the public, but the usage of abusive and non-inclusive languages in their writings and reportings continue to impinge a violation of rights for these persons.
Yona advises information givers to acquire more training.
Is that journalists are trained in inclusive reporting, they are trained on disability and older person specific needs, issues, concerns, and the internationally acceptable terminologies.
To curb these challenges, the Westminster Foundation for Democracy, WFD, organized a convention including civil society organizations, the media, persons with disabilities, and other stakeholders to counter misinformation and gender narratives.
Communicating. But because of what you have already said, confirmation bias, which is also very important. And the question is, how do we fight the bias that we have?
Antonio Chisembo from Media Challenge Initiative (MCI) says it's crucial to pre-debunk information immediately it's out.
It's important to know that narratives exist, and finding ways to counter this narrative fast is what we call pre-empty, where you think about narratives that may come in place so that you're able to pre-debunk the narrative. So pre-debunking narratives helps all organizations to be aware of what will be coming and also counter it.
He cites different tools to be used to counter misinformation.
Of tools, especially the fact-checking tools. You have Google reverse image search, you have the InVid, you have TinEye. All these are tools that will enable you to fact-check and understand that a statement is right or a picture has been shared is right or wrong, and you're able to put out any information, either implying that this information appeared because of this, or it appeared because someone was just trying to push it even now.
Naguja Serena, NSTV.
Thank you.